Hi everyone, welcome to Inspire Fitness and Nutrition. I'm Coach Kaci. I'm going to go over today how I structure both nutrition and fitness through our Inspire programs. When I first began my fitness journey, I felt a little bit like Michael Scott here. Maybe you can relate.
I knew exactly what to do, but in a much more real sense, I had no idea what to do.
So we know that we need to exercise and diet, right? But how do you get started with that? First, I'm going to walk through the workouts and how I structure those. So, with Inspire, I'm a big advocate for resistance training or weightlifting. Training this way strengthens muscles, joints, and bones, which is important for longevity and health. More muscle means that you get to burn more calories just simply by living, which means that you get to consume more calories, even if you're in a dieting phase. People will come to me and ask for the toned look. What they mean is really that they want to lose body fat but maintain muscle mass so that way they have more curves so you can see the muscle density underneath the body fat. Goals outside of aesthetics. So this means that as you start lifting weights, I'll talk a little bit more about how we structure the program itself, but you want to be getting stronger. That means you're going to be setting goals for yourself week by week, and those give you something to look forward to other than just how you're looking. Your endorphins and oxytocin and other feel good hormones, you will feel so remarkable after you're done with a workout, and you'll want to continue to chase that feeling. So, we do a workout split called with full body workouts. So, in this case, you're less likely to be sore. You have better intensity for all of your workouts. You might be targeting those muscle groups that you want to target more frequently, and it fits with your schedule a lot better because it's a 4-day workout week. So it will optimize your recovery. Again, you'll have better intensity. That means that if you go in for a workout on Monday, and let's say that you had a really heavy workout for your legs on Saturday, you're probably not going to be able to give the same intensity to a leg workout just a few days after that because you are so sore. Again, it's a 4-day workout week is so much more flexible with your schedule. You can really put your rest days and recovery time at an optimal place for you. And let's say that something comes up and you happen to miss a workout. And, if we're doing full body, then that doesn't mean that you're going to be missing just your legs. And let's say, something comes up the next week and you have to miss that workout again. You would have missed that particular muscle group twice instead of when we do full body, you'd still be hitting those muscle groups just a little bit differently. Progressive overload. So this is where I was talking about setting goals for ourselves. So you do the same workouts every week. You train with intensity and proper form, and you can progress each week on those workouts by either the weights that you used going up in weight or reps and sets. If you are one to work out at home, maybe you don't have a lot of weight that you can add to your exercise, but maybe you can do more reps and sets within that exercise. The third one is time under tension, or the time that you are performing the exercise. If you slow each rep down, and it will increase the difficulty. So proficiency provides strength and progress. So we don't want to be changing up the exercises week by week. We want to continue to use the same exercises so that way your body can become proficient in those movements. It's more safe for your bones and joint health as well, and your body will know how to recover and react to the movements that you're doing because it is familiar with it. On week 4, so we do 4 workouts for 4 weeks, 4 days a week. And on the 4th week, we do what's called a deload week. This promotes proper recovery to those muscle groups, it still ushers the blood flow with the nutrition that you're taking into those muscles to help in healing and recovery, reduces your cortisol levels or your stress hormones, and it maintains the habitual gym going behaviors that you had gotten used to for the first 3 weeks. Some coaches and trainers will tell someone to simply take a week off of the gym for a deload. I'm not a huge advocate for that because I feel like the gym provides more than just a stimulus for your muscles, but also can be therapeutic for your mood and mental well-being as well. So, with the nutrition aspects, regardless of what your goals are, calories in versus calories out will be king. So, if you are looking to simply build more muscle and lose body fat, doing what's called a body recomposition, then we would want to be at a maintenance level calorie intake and be working on that progressive overload that we talked about with the workouts, so that way we can use the nutrition properly to build muscle, and muscle will burn fat even at rest. If you are looking to lose body fat but also put on muscle at the same time, we need to be what's called in a calorie deficit. So you're taking in less calories than what you are burning, and so it's necessary for weight loss, and we try to optimize maintainable body fat loss. This means looking at only losing maybe 1 to 1.5% of your body's weight each week. Any more than that is not necessarily sustainable or maintainable. If you are looking to simply build muscle, you need to be in a slight calorie surplus. So the more calories that you take in than what you're burning. This is optimal for potentiating muscle growth and mitigating body fat gains. So we use what's called a macronutrient approach. So calories are made up of carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. Carbohydrates and proteins are 4 calories a gram, and fats are 9 calories a gram. So if you have anything near you, you can look at a nutrition label and follow along. First, we want to optimize protein because we're going to be creating stimulus on your muscle and damage to the muscle. We want it to rebuild back better and stronger. So, proteins are the building blocks for all cells, and it is essential. We must take in protein. So, with this program, we try to aim for about 1 gram of body weight in pounds per day in protein. So, if you weigh 145, we would try to take in 145 grams of protein. Now, if you are severely overweight, we want to also maintain good liver and kidney function. So sometimes if we take in too much protein, it can tax those organs. So we would set your protein goal for the day probably closer to your goal weight rather than the weight that you're at the time being. So this macronutrient, we try to stay consistent regardless of whatever your calorie goal is. So if you are trying to build muscle, of course, we're going to keep protein high. If you're trying to lose body fat, and in either a recomposition stance or in a body fat like deficit stance, we would definitely want to keep protein high as well. We want to preserve as much muscle and build as much muscle in those states as we possibly can. Protein is the hardest macronutrient to be converted into body fat. If you overeat on protein, there's quite the conversion rate for your body to transform those calories into body fat over any other macronutrient group, fats and carbs. So it's very satisfying, and it has a thermodynamic component to it that burns many calories while you're simply digesting the protein in general. Carbohydrates. Please do not be afraid of carbohydrates. They are actually the preferred energy source for your brain and your body, and it shuttles the protein to the muscles for muscle synthesis. So it's important while you are resistance training to take in carbohydrates so that way they can help you rebuild your muscle. So people will say that after they eat something that's high in carbohydrates, they gain weight rapidly afterwards. Well, what's actually happening is that the carbohydrate combines with hydrogen atoms, molecules of water, and you retain the water. And together with the water, the carbohydrates, and the proteins, they will go back into your muscles, help restore and rebuild and recover that muscle damage that we do in the gym, and will fill your muscle glycogen, your liver glycogen, for energy stores that you can use later for your workouts. Carbohydrates also aid in digestion. Okay. Fiber is a carbohydrate. They can either be fast digesting or they could be slow digesting, depending upon how much fiber is in the source of carbohydrates. So, something like a sweet potato is going to have more fiber in it than Skittles. Something with sugar is going to digest rather quickly. We like to optimize those quick digesting carbohydrates around our workouts for energy and recovery. Carbohydrates are also the second most difficult macronutrient to be stored as body fat when eaten in a surplus. So if you overeat on carbohydrates, there is still quite the conversion that needs to take place for your body to be able to store it as body fat. Speaking of fats, they are essential for some vitamin and mineral absorption. They are essential for hormonal functions, and they're necessary for brain health, joints, and connective tissues. It helps in digestion. It can kind of lube the pipes, if you will, and also slows down your digestion for better absorption of minerals in some cases. It's very satisfying. Again, it's 9 calories a gram, but it is also the easiest to be stored as body fat when you overeat on fats. There is no conversion necessary. Fat is fat. So here's an example of how I might break down a client's macronutrient caloric intake. So let's say I have a 45-year-old female. She's 175 pounds. She's 5'4", sedentary, and her goal is fat loss. So she's 175 pounds. I may start her at 175 grams of protein, which is going to be 700 calories. Now, she's got to stay around the 1639 calorie intake altogether. So 43% of her overall intake will come from protein. For fats, she would want to stay around 27 to 30% of her overall caloric intake from fats. Again, very essential for hormonal health. It is irresponsible and unsustainable to drop fats too low. So we want to make sure that we are prioritizing health here. And the rest of the calories will come from carbohydrates because carbohydrates aren't necessarily essential, but they are beneficial. So why not just count calories then if calories in versus calories out is the king? Okay, so number one, nutrition labels can lie. We also want to promote muscle growth for higher metabolism, and consistency with macros can lead to faster results. This also teaches you what's in your food and promotes a whole food approach over processed foods. So, a whole food approach is easier to track with macronutrients than eating a bunch of overly processed foods. Not that you can't have them, it's just much easier to eat whole foods at this point. So let's take a look at natural Jif peanut butter. I love peanut butter. I will never demonize peanut butter, but the nutrition label here is false. So if we look at it, it says there's 33 grams per serving, and it says that there's 190 calories per serving. So first off, it's 2 tablespoons. Now my 2 tablespoons are going to look much different than 33 grams if I don't use a scale. Okay. Secondly, let's look at the actual breakdown of the macros. So if it says here there's 16 grams of total fats, 8 grams of total carbs, and 7 grams of total protein. Most people consider peanut butter to be a good source of protein. But let's fact check this, okay? So if we take the fats times 9 calories a gram, that gives us 144 calories. If we take the carbohydrates, which are 4 calories a gram, and multiply that, we get 32 calories. And the last one is protein. If we take the 7 grams of protein times 4 calories per gram, we get 27. When you add that up, it's actually 204 calories per 33 grams. Now, it's not much. It's 14 calories over what they're claiming, but that's only peanut butter and that's only 33 grams. So what other things are you eating that maybe you don't know you're actually eating more than what you are thinking? Here are some tools that will help. During our program, we could take a weight scale, a fabric measuring tape to take your assessments for check ins, a food scale. Try to avoid measuring cups, and it's inaccurate and it can be inconsistent. And you can track your progress or your meals with MyFitnessPal. I use LifeSum. There's one called Fat Secret. One of my favorites I've just found is Nutrition IX, and I'm sure there's other ones out there. Um, there are some other calculators that you can use to figure out what your macros could be. With my programming, I like to adjust macronutrients based on clients' adaptations. We try to keep your metabolism firing high. So every check-in you have with me, I like to give refeeds where I might up your carbohydrates because they're the most manipulative, right? So they are not necessarily necessary, but they are good sources of calories that we can work with to help promote a higher functioning metabolism. So your metabolism doesn't um, become adapt to the lower calories if you are in a caloric deficit. I also love the psychology of dieting, and I give my clients usually one free meal a week so that way they have something to look forward to. The higher calorie refeed days are also very exciting sometimes for clients where they get to eat more calories on those days. Sometimes there's multiple days, sometimes it's just one day, depending upon how your body is reacting to the protocols. All of that is, discretionary, and I'll explain why I made the changes that I make. I encourage questions. I also encourage looking at biofeedback, things like your sleep schedule, how are you feeling, how's your mood, how's your soreness level, how's your stress. Because really, if you're trying to lose body fat or you're trying to optimize your body's functioning, stress management is 100% the key. So we not only look at how your body's reacting to the programming, but how the outside life, your life in general, is contributing to your progress as well. So if you are interested in this, please fill out the survey application form, and I'll get back to you and answer all the questions that you have. I hope you have a great day. Thank you for your time.